In Florence in 1509, Caterina Sforza, Countess of Forlì and Imola, natural daughter of the Duke of Milan, was buried aged 46. In that short lifespan, she had been a 14-year-old bride, occupied Castel Sant'Angelo at the head of troops in order to influence a papal election, ruthlessly avenged the assassinations of 2 of her 3 husbands, mothered 7 children, navigated her way around powerful neighbours and defended Imola and Forlì until finally ousted by a French-backed invasion and siege by Cesare Borgia. She has gone down in history as a virago and earned for herself the title of the Tigress of Forlì. The Sforzas came from several generations of condottieri, or leaders of mercenary armies, a heritage that was clearly passed down. But she was also a highly educated woman, enjoying a classical education. She was fluent in Latin and Greek by age 12, and grew up in a court that fostered any art and science that would lend prestige and authority to its rulers. And science seems to have been her particular interest. Extant catalogues of the Duke's Library list seminal works by Pliny the Elder and Theophrastus, as well as the hugely popular 12th century Tarquinum Sanitatis by Ibn Butlan, and the 14th century Manfredo de Montemperiali's De Naturis Auri Argenti et Herbarum, or On the Nature of Gold, Silver and Plants. Alchemy was highly visible, and an arena particularly accessible to women, as its practical component was expressed every day in women's work of the time: cooking, gardening, the preservation of food and wine, cosmetics and medicinal preparations. In the courtly category of prince practitioner, Caterina's mastery of alchemy added an additional facet to her power and authority. As countess, Caterina designed and ordered medicinal herb gardens in both Imola and Forlì, and there are extant letters both to her apothecary Ludovico Albertini, who supplied her with ingredients for her experiments, and to other agents with requests and orders. She possessed secrets, and moreover was deeply embedded in a network of practitioners involved in the pursuit of such alchemic secrets. In her will, Caterina left a manuscript to her youngest son, a journal she had kept all her life, and within it were the medicinal, cosmetic and alchemic recipes she had collected. A partial copy dated 1525 was found in the 1880s. The original is sadly lost. This copy contains recipes that claimed to cure diseases, enhance appearance, concoct poisons and their antidotes, and the metallurgical debasement of coinage. Under the category of cosmetics is a recipe for a hand cream that is marked out as having been, in particular, used by Caterina herself, and therefore with excellent results.
Piglia libra una de amandole amare ben monde e piste.
Take 1 pound of bitter almonds well cleaned and ground, and soak them overnight, then drain using a cloth, throwing away the water and retaining the ground almonds. Then take 2 ounces of ground orris root, 2 ounces of ground white mustard seed, and 4 ounces of ground black mustard seed. Raw honey, 4 ounces. Put everything into a new glazed pot and incorporate everything. Place on a very low flame and temper with much rose water. Then leave to cool, and it will do marvelous things. I have made one change to the recipe. It calls for bitter almonds, which I have swapped out for regular sweet almonds. This is due to all the reasons I'm about to list here, namely that while containing hydrocyanic acid or cyanide, bitter almonds contain a much higher amount. So for reasons like just 50 almonds are fatal if ingested, and also because they are probably for that reason harder to come by, I made the change. I don't think it will have a huge impact on the efficacy of the paste itself. Nevertheless, I continue to follow the recipe as written. Here I have all my ingredients laid out with various receptacles useful for the purpose. My almonds soaked overnight. Almonds were believed to help nourish skin and hair. The bitter variety apparently helped with stretch marks. Next we have white mustard seed. All varieties of mustard seed were believed to stimulate healthy skin, and of having some anti-inflammatory properties for the joints. Black mustard seed had particular usage against arthritis. I found grinding these to be a particularly laborious task, and no doubt was one done either by an apothecary's assistant or perhaps a kitchen menial, since all ingredients were used both in food as well as cosmetics. Orris root is the powdered rhizome of the Florentine iris and is native to the eastern half of the Mediterranean, and while it was used in cooking, it was mostly highly prized for its scent. From ancient times, honey has been used to heal wounds and was believed to help heal skin conditions. Rosewater is a ubiquitous period ingredient and used in innumerable ways. Here it seems to be mostly to add a scented lubricant to help bind the paste. This extant copy of Caterina's manuscript, which was only a part of the lost whole, contains 454 recipes, 66 of them cosmetic, 358 medicinal, and 38 alchemic. Most of it is written in the vernacular Italian, but a few recipes relating to the transmutations of metals were written in Latin, and a few other are presented in code, although the key is given, and mostly describe experimental techniques rather than actual recipes. Both of these writing devices, the Latin and the code, seem to have been intended to mark entries as unique, demanding or valuable rather than an attempt to conceal or exclude. The whole thing is clearly written for the layperson. The author of this copy identifies himself on the cover and was one Count Lucantonio Cuppano, a colonel on the staff of Giovanni de' Medici, also called Giovanni dalle Bande Nere, Caterina's youngest son, who was the most famous and able condottiero of his generation, and her favourite. Recipes such as these were considered valuable enough to trade for monetary value and patronage, and were even used in diplomatic negotiations to generate goodwill and seal treaties and agreements. So this collection was not simply the accumulation of a hobby, but a real way to acquire prestige and gain or retain authority and maintain relationships. Having mixed all the ingredients up, the recipe states very specifically to only put it on a low flame, but unhelpfully does not say for how long. I noticed no great change in consistency over a period of roughly 30 minutes, so I took it off the heat and allowed it to cool overnight. The next day it had firmed up a bit, and the smell was less redolent of burnt violets. If I was to try it again, I might lessen the amount of rosewater in an attempt to make it even firmer. The texture is as to be expected with the ground ingredients. However, this does give an exfoliating dimension to the paste. I know it doesn't look very enticing, but it isn't as slimy as you would expect. Rubbing it in and all over the hands, it really did start to feel like it was doing something. After dusting off the crumbs, you are left with a moisturizing feeling that, as you rub, gradually becomes tacky, which then rapidly turns to a soft slip on the skin, which was surprisingly pleasant. I found that my hands felt moisturized and soft and lightly scented of roses. I felt no urge to wash my hands afterwards, which was another surprise. The fact that this paste actually works, although perhaps not to the level of the author's superlatives, was an additional bonus beyond my purpose of an experiment in authentic cosmetics. No doubt pastes of this nature would have formed part of every lady's toilet and give positive results even by today's standards. I enjoyed making this, and I hope this demonstration was of interest to you.